Welcome to Gale Force Conversations with members of Music NL. In today's episode, we chat with King Sway, born Farai Gwasira. He is a Zimbabwean rapper, singer, songwriter, and producer. In his early life, Sway turned to music as a form of therapy after the untimely passing of his grandfather. King Sway's career began when he moved to Canada with his first appearance on a single, Savage Mode. He is known for his witty wordplay, curious sound, and creative style. Sway's sound transcends any particular genre, known for crossing over from pop to trap, dancehall, rhythm and blues, and pop. Thanks for joining us.
All right.
Welcome back to another conversation on Gale Force Winds. It is always a pleasure to be in conversation with very creative people, and there's no better place to be doing that with the people of music, Newfoundland and Labrador. Farai, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Okay, well, my name is Farai Gwasira, and I go by the stage name of King Sway. I can trace music as far back as probably my single-digit years. I was the kid who used to sing along to every song on the radio, like all of them. And the fun fact that a lot of people don't know is I actually started out as a singer, not a rapper. But puberty wasn't very kind to me. I think I wrote my first pop song when I was 7 years old. And it was about having a girlfriend at the time. And you can imagine how my parents reacted to that, because this was like a love song. It was called Come Back to Me. I'd sing it for you, but no. And then I kind of moved into rap after I started poetry at about 10. One of my friends was dabbling in rap and like beat production and whatnot. And he encouraged me. He was like, just try it. And I just heard my first ever rap song now. I was a big Akon fan. So this was like Akon, Lil Wayne, Jeezy's, Jizzy's, I don't remember. But that was the first and only rap song I'd ever heard. So I sat down and I tried these rhymes. And, you know, I sucked at it, obviously. And then I kept going and I was like, oh, this is enjoyable. I got to get good at this. So I think I probably wrote at least a song a day, every day.
How old are you at this point?
10.
10. Wow.
Yeah. From the time I was 10 till I was about 16, 17, I probably wrote at least one song every single day. Whether it was good or not is another question.
Would you sing it for family, friends, or just write it and sing it by yourself? How would you do it?
Most of the time by myself. And it got to a point where, like, Valentine's Day, I would write songs for my friends to give their girlfriends. So, like, I got good enough for that. And then what actually made me turn to music as something that I was now looking into was when my grandfather passed. Because it became kind of an emotional outlet for me, because he was like a father figure to me. And that brought about the first song I ever actually played for people and recorded, and it was called Peace, because I felt a lot of guilt about not visiting him. So that's kind of how that started out. And then this was in my last year of high school, so I was about 17. Yeah, about 17. And then I came to Canada the next year. I'd done a couple of tracks just for fun. I played them for the guys that I met there. I was fortunate enough to meet very creative people from the get-go. And they were like, you know, you really need to take this seriously. And then, fortunately for me, the pandemic happened. Unfortunately for a lot of people. But it gave me time and enough mental issues to put together an album titled Daydreaming, which was me doing exactly that. I was daydreaming. It was kind of like trying to show how you can kind of have your struggles in a peaceful place. So like I kind of set up that album to go through my feelings about my relationships, my family, myself, and like kind of twist the take, because I felt like I was responsible for a lot of things that went wrong, and that was the perspective that I put it through in my music. And even the album cover, it's me sitting with a girl who's disinterested in me, and we're in a field of green grass, and you've got the northern lights in the background to kind of show that disharmony within the harmony. So that's...
Wow. That's deep. That's deep.
Yeah, I really overthought it. You have no idea. And I even started the album with a prayer, because like I'm a Christian, and I had lost faith at this time. You know, I was diagnosed with depression, which I also touched in one of my songs. I included real clips of my therapy sessions, and it was kind of an honor actually to be nominated for an ECMA, even though I didn't win it for that particular project, because that meant people actually resonated with my feelings. That was a moment of vulnerability. So that was amazing in itself.
I don't even know where to begin. There's so much to...
He usually knows where to begin. Yeah. That's amazing. Yeah, go ahead, Al.
There's so much to explore there. Let's go back to when you were 6, 7 years old and music was starting to influence you. What were you listening to at the time? Like, what were the things that were influencing you back then?
I was listening to a lot of pop. I remember at that age I really wanted an iPod. I never got one. If my parents are listening, I hope they hear me. I never got one.
We'll make sure they get a copy of it.
But yeah, fortunately, my uncle lent me his iPod from time to time. So I was listening to a lot of Mariah Carey, Jordan Sparks. Akon was really big for me, like really big. I think I listened to everything he put out. Whether I liked it or not, I listened to it all. I listened to like the Justin Timberlakes. I listened to anybody that sang, really.
Yeah.
And like once I started listening to hip hop, I kind of then wondered, there's this whole genre I didn't know about. So what else is out there? And I kind of started looking into country. Me and my dad really used to jam to Shania Twain. I've loved Shania Twain since I was single digits.
Yeah.
Since I couldn't even pronounce her name, but I loved her music.
And so when you were listening to Shania Twain, you and your dad, where was this? Where were you located at the time?
It was in Zimbabwe. I'm from Zimbabwe,
Yeah.
and my family is all still in Zimbabwe.
So you're in Zimbabwe, you're listening to Shania Twain.
Yeah, and
Did you know she was from Canada? Could you?
I didn't even know who Shania Twain was at the time, but I could sing her songs back to front.
That's hilarious.
And it's, funny enough, it's only when I came here that I was like, oh, it's Shania. But I had the songs. I had the CD, and I remember it was like a purple CD with like a blue gradient mix and had the white lines going across. I remember that CD oh so well.
What was it about Shania Twain's music that spoke to you?
To be honest with you, I can't really tell you. I'd say probably the instrumentation was really good. I loved the build-ups, like the way that she kind of segmented her music was amazing. The lyrics were easy to remember. They really stuck with me. Like, Don't Be Stupid, my favorite song of all time to this day. I'm like,
Wow.
Don't be stupid.
Yeah.
You know I love you.
It's interesting, though, you say that, the profound effect that musician had on you in Zimbabwe, and now here you are sitting in front of us.
I hope Shania is listening or will listen to this.
I hope so too, because I sent her a picture on Instagram and she opened it but didn't reply.
Oh, is that right?
We'll have to get this in front of Shania Twain for sure. But that's a great story. So rap music grabs you at some point. What resonates about that to you? What was it about rap music that you said, this is me? This is what I want to be a part of?
What got me listening to it at first was the difference in sound. Like, it was so impactful, the witty lines and all that, but what got me personally hooked was the story. Like, you can tell such a vivid story with rap music, and people just look at it and they're like, oh, the rhymes, the flow, that was so good, but the overall story in a rap song,
Right.
it's amazing to me.
Yeah. And you probably had some stories to tell.
Oh yeah, I had plenty.
You got plenty of stories to tell.
Plenty, good ones and bad ones. There's
Yeah.
always, everybody has a story to tell, and
Yeah.
it gave me a means to deliver my story
Right.
that was comfortable for me.
Right.
Like, I felt comfortable being vulnerable with the world through that medium.
Is that right? Wow. What was it like growing up in Zimbabwe?
Oh, it was awesome. Now, of course, music isn't as supported there as it is. There's less opportunities to come up as a musician. So obviously, a lot of people close to me didn't see the feasibility of pursuing it at the time. So it was more of just a hobby. And I went to a private school in St. George's College, which at the time, I don't know if it still is, at the time was one of the best schools in the country. And I was very fortunate to do that because it gave me a well-rounded education. I met a lot of people who, to this day, are still impacting my life. And I'm very grateful. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for that particular school.
Tell me about who were the mentors in that school for you, and did they appreciate your music?
I'll be honest. I haven't been home in a while since my music kind of gained a bit of traction to know how many people actually appreciate from the people that mentored me, but a lot of the people that kind of pushed me were my friends, my peers, because a lot of them are chasing music right now, whether it's in South Africa, Zimbabwe. I think I know some in Thailand. And, there was always that feeling of push yourself harder. Because I think especially when you kind of do rap, it's very easy to get lost in the sense of groupthink. Because I'll release a song and all my friends will be like, oh, this is amazing, you're the next big thing. And it's very easy to get lost in that. And I was fortunate that my friends, they did that, but immediately after were like, go and write another one.
Yeah.
That's not good enough. You've done this, that's good, but you can do better. And I've had people who actually had my best interests at heart. Of course, there were those that didn't, but I've been very fortunate. I'm blessed. And you always hear me say in my music, I'm very blessed.
It's amazing.
Are each one of your songs an experience that you've had?
Oh, yes, definitely, 100%. I try to keep my music as real and authentic as possible. So every story I tell is a story I experienced, So it's not like, even the more upbeat and hype songs, that's lyrically, if you break it down, I'm still telling a story, just the more.
Now, tell me about the process of writing a rap song, because this is completely foreign to me.
He's not in the demographic.
So what is the process of writing a rap song?
Now, I think it differs for person to person, but for me personally, I have two ways that I write songs. The first is I can kind of just be sitting. I write based on my feelings. So, like, I could wake up today and I'm feeling really happy, and I'm like, you know what? I want to translate this into something. So, like, I'll sit and I'll just start jotting down lyrics, like whatever comes to my mind based off where I am. And usually I like to be alone because, a lot of people start to add lines like, why don't you add this line? Why don't you? I don't like that.
Okay. You like to be in control of the process. Oh,
yeah, like
it makes sense.
It kind of interrupts the flow of the feelings for me. So, like, if you want to give me suggestions after, yeah, sure, but not during. Yeah. And that's the first way that I do it. The second way that I do it is I'll kind of have the instrumental that I want to use. Like, I'll play through my instrumentals. I have a friend of mine who produces, and he sends me like multitudes of beats, like so many I feel bad because I don't really go through all of them. So I kind of listen to which one is speaking to me, and then once I play that, I put it in my studio session, and then I grab the mic and headphones on. I'm in my own world now. This is just me and the mic. And I kind of start freestyling, and I write down what I like, what I, kind of switch it around. And then usually by the end of that, I've got probably half a song. I got a verse and a chorus. And then I kind of take a break from it, go do everything else. Then I come back and I listen to it, and I'm like, is this good or was this just enjoyable?
Yeah, right.
And then you kind of work on it, I finish it, and then I'll send it to him, and I'll be like, this is the song I finished. And I want you to tweak the instrumental like this, add this, and add that, and add this. I'm big on ambient sound, so if you listen very closely, there's usually rain or wind in all of my songs.
Is that right?
Yes, because I feel like that it kind of creates an atmosphere for reflectiveness and thought. I don't know, is that just me?
No. We're Gale Force Winds. So we win.
That's a good point.
We have a play on.
I understand what you're talking about.
That was a good one. I'll give you that was a good one. So, like, after that, he'll kind of get back to me with an instrumental, and I'm very particular about how I want my songs to sound, because I feel like it's very easy to end up just being commercial, and I still want people to listen.
Right.
So, like, I'll kind of write down, and I'll be like, I want you to do this to my vocals, I want you to pan this and volume that and volume that, and then after you do that, you send me that version, and then you can make your own version with what you think it should sound like and send me that too.
Right.
And then we kind of look and see if there are things that we can kind of combine. And that's my process for songs, start to finish.
Where is he located?
His name is Ishmael. He's located in Zimbabwe still.
Okay.
I'm trying to get him here. It'd be a lot easier to do this if it wasn't over the phone, because sometimes network is a real hassle, and you can imagine how much data I'm spending on
I was going to say, so you're sending all this back to Zimbabwe.
Yeah.
And your friend Ishmael, how did you get to know Ishmael?
He was actually the person who recorded the first song I ever did. And we kind of became friends after that, because this was my first time in the studio. And for starters, I didn't know what an ad-lib was. And he's like, well, you got so much empty space, you got an ad-lib. I'm like, what's an ad-lib? and he really explained things to me. And, I appreciated that as a producer who I was paying, He didn't try to keep things from me. He showed me how to do things on my own, such that even when I'm sitting at home, I can send him a reference track. Like, I want it to sound like this. I know how to manipulate the sounds because he showed me how to do it. And I really appreciated that. And we kind of became like family after that. Like, he's my brother.
Is that right?
It's not just someone I work with. And that's what music's about, right? It's about community.
It's important in life to find someone like Ishmael who will actually help you be better.
Yeah.
We're after that all the time, aren't we?
100%. Sounds like Ishmael wants you to be successful.
Yeah, and I want the same for him because the way I look at it is one person's success is everyone's success if we're doing it right.
Yeah.
And it's important not to forget each other. Because even here, like, I think we've got a great ecosystem of people who are ready to support. So, like, all I can say is I'm blessed, and I'm thankful, really.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you a quick question, and then forgive me for the question. I'll say that in advance. Because I'm a 56-year-old guy whose jazz music is what I listen to.
Mm-hmm.
The melody in rap,
Mm-hmm.
At what point do you bring melody into it? Because it's often, from my perspective, words and rhythm.
Mm-hmm.
So where does melody enter into it, such that you have various notes and things?
I'm gonna be honest with you. My music theory is okay. It's not the best. For me, I write the song with melody. So each line is written with the melody it's going to speak. So if I'm going to say, hi, my name is Farai, and I'm a really nice guy, like, I write it with that. And I record every
so the
4
intonation is natural in the flow of the sentence.
Exactly. And I record every 4 lines as I go. So even if it's not the final recording, so I don't forget how I kind of set it up. So that's my process. I can't speak for all the other rappers' processes, but, like, if you ask me about notes and keys, man, I don't know. I don't know. That's the truth. I want to learn, but I don't really know.
Farai, when are you most creative? Mornings, afternoons, or any time? When do you find yourself most creative?
I think I'm most creative in the dead of night. Majority of my songs are written between, like, probably 1 a.m. and 6 a.m.
When you're sleeping, or?
Oh, sleep is a rarity in my life. So if I find something, like, that's why I try not to watch Netflix past 11, because if I get hooked on Netflix, then I'm not going to make any music.
Okay, good.
But yeah, that's...
so at night, that's when you're most creative. Is
Yeah.
it the silence, the peacefulness? What is it about the night?
I think because I heavily focus on emotions in my music, my inspiration tends to come at a time where I now have the time to reflect and kind of think. So at nighttime, where I'm now, like, it's either you're winding down for bed or the day just slows down.
Mm-hmm.
And it's now like I'm more present in my thoughts, and I'm like, okay, this is how I'm feeling. And for me, I don't see, even if I'm feeling sad, I don't see that as a bad thing. I see that as a moment of inspiration, because that means that I have a feeling that I can put down on paper and into the universe and kind of reach out to someone else who's feeling the exact same thing.
It must be amazing when your music connects with somebody.
It is. It is the best feeling in the world. Like, I did a song on my mental health, like I told you, and so many people wrote to me with their experiences and how it made them feel and thanking me for that song. That was probably the biggest moment for me.
What's it called?
Addiction. It's called Addiction. It's on my debut album, Daydreaming.
Yeah.
And I cannot tell you how good that felt, because it's really putting yourself out there. Because I'm here, like, I wanted to die. And I say that in a song. That's not something that's easy to say in a song. And when someone comes and says, the fact that you said that gave me strength, that is more meaningful than anything else I could ever get.
Yeah, well, vulnerability in anything is hard, right? It's hard to be vulnerable, even to your family sometimes, right? So to express yourself like that in song, it's pretty impressive. And then when it resonates with somebody, it's got to be amazing. Like, when you got that first email, tell me how you felt.
Well, at first I was like, I got a fan letter. I got fan mail. I didn't know people still did this. I hadn't even opened it yet. And I was like, yay. And then I opened it and I read it, and I sat down. I remember where I was. I was holding my phone, and I was on a lunch break at work. And I think I still worked at Walmart at that time. And I looked at it, and I was like, I got to sit down for this. And I read it again and again and again. And I was like, I have to respond now. Because like, this is incredible. Like,
Wow.
I just connected and had a deep, meaningful conversation with someone I have never met.
Right.
Like, I can't put that into words.
Right. That is pretty impressive. I mean, that's impactful stuff, right? When you got vulnerable, you reached out, you put this out there, and you connected with somebody, and maybe made a difference in their life.
And that's the goal at the end of the day.
Right.
At least that's what I think music should be about.
Yeah.
Music is about, it's medicine for the soul.
Right. Okay, I want to find out why Newfoundland. What about Newfoundland? What made you put your finger on a map and say, I'm going there?
Two things, actually. I chose Canada because this was 2015, 2016 when I was choosing universities. And I knew I wanted to pursue music. And I hadn't quite started on the I want my emotions to resonate thing. I was still on the I want to be a superstar phase.
Okay.
And I looked at where the artists are coming up from. And the people I was looking up to, so you got the Drakes, The Weeknd, and all those guys. And I noticed a lot of artists are coming up from Canada. And at that time, I didn't know anything about grants, or I didn't know anything about like the kind of way of life that's here. But I looked at that and I was like, okay, that settles it. We're going to Canada. And everyone was like, well, if that's what you're chasing, you should go to America. And I was like, I don't know. Right. Canada's looking like the spot. I was right, by the way. And then a lot of people call it coincidence, but I won't. The next day, a representative from Memorial came to our school.
That's not true.
I'm telling you. The next day. This was
Zimbabwe.
Yeah.
Really?
The next day, her name is Shona. You can check that. Like, the next day. And I was like, if this is not a sign, nothing else is. My parents wanted me to go to South Africa. I fought tooth and nail. And I was like, you know what? I want to go to Canada so bad. When I get there, I will get a job and I'll pay the difference of the cost of going to South Africa. That's how bad I was like.
So you brokered a deal with mom and dad and said, this is what I'm going to do.
That's what I said, and they sat me down and they're like, you know what, if you're this serious about it, and I showed them the numbers, I was like, this works. And they're like, okay, we'll support you. Now I have to give them for that. Like, this is a 17-year-old boy telling you like I'm going to Canada, and I didn't mention the music part, but you know,
Yeah.
I have to give them the credit. I'm thankful that they said yes.
Okay, so you decide that, so you meet this recruiter from Memorial University. Mm-hmm. It must have been an easy pitch from her because you're locked in at this point already.
Yeah, I was already interested, and she's like, well, mine is $8,000 a year. I was like, okay, that would sell my parents. And we got into talking about the entry requirements. I'd already met them all, and I was like, okay. I wrote a proposal. Like, when I presented this to them, I had a proposal. I had pamphlets. I had spreadsheets. I honestly think they said yes because they were like, there's no way this guy did this much research and he's wrong.
So you researched mine, you researched Newfoundland, you researched all of that, and went to your mom and dad and said, this is what I want to do.
Yeah.
Okay, you get on a plane. Do you remember arriving here? What was it like?
I do. I remember I got here and I hadn't asked for an airport greeter because I wanted to be independent. So I got here and I got out and I looked outside and I was like, okay, so I'm here. I got in the cab. I wasn't going to Mun that day. I stayed at the Hilton for the night before. And I got there and I remembered the drive there. I was like, first thing I noticed, I was like, oh, the houses are made out of wood. Because for us, we use bricks for us. I was like, this is kind of weird. Like, they don't even have walls? Like, what's going on here? And it wasn't a sunny day. It was kind of overcast that day. I was like, but this is pretty cool. Like, I mean, wow. Okay. I got to the hotel. I slept. I was buzzing the next morning. I think I was up at 5. I packed everything. And when I came to Mun, everything was just, wow. Like,
so you arrive at Mun. You're looking around. Tell me about your first experience with classmates and all of that.
I think the friends that I still have, I met them my first day at orientation at Mun.
Is that right?
Because I got to res, I was shown my room, I came down, I walked around Mun, and then they were giving us a tour Now, on that tour, I met probably 4 or 5 people that I've been friends with since then. And like I said, fortunately enough, I was lucky that they were all creatives. Like, we got videographers, photographers, musicians. Even my girlfriend now, I met her first month at Mount. Everybody.
Wow.
So, like, I was set up for success from the beginning.
Why do you think that was? Why did you think you found all these people so quickly?
2 words, man. God's plan.
Might say a lot about you, too. You might be,
Maybe.
you might be open to this, right? So you're open to creativity. Creativity found you.
Maybe. I will say that I do think that I'm a person who likes to push the people around them, because I always think I should be the weakest link in my circle, because I know I want to succeed. I know my hunger and I know my desire. I know what I'm willing to do to get there. So if I'm the weakest, then we aren't really weak in my eyes. But at the same time, I don't like to take credit for anything, because I really don't think I could have gotten here without the multitudes of people who, whether knowingly or unknowingly, brought me to this point where I am, and to the points where I'm going to get, because I know this is not the end.
Right. So when did you first touch the Newfoundland music scene? Because that's a pretty creative scene. When did you first get involved in that?
I didn't know much about anything or anyone. I was making music in my dorm room for the first 2 years I was here. And then the pandemic happened. And I stumbled upon this place called Music NL. And I was like, I wonder what this is. I signed up, I made the profile, but I didn't know what it was. I was just like, why not? You know, gotta get yourself out there. And then probably a few months later, I started working on my album. It took me a month to make that album. Like, everything fell into place so quickly, and then I released the album. And all of a sudden, I was doing a show for CBC at the time called Stuffed, and one of the producers is like, wow, did you try reaching out to radio? I was like, my whole life I thought radio just found people and played them. Honestly, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
So now I'm like, okay. I reached out, I got a couple interviews, and then all of a sudden, it was towards the end of the year, I got an email saying you're eligible to apply for Hip Hop Artist of the Year. And I was like, Hip Hop Artist of the Year? So I applied. My application was probably very sketchy, and I'm sorry to everyone who may have looked at it. I'm really sorry. I didn't know what I was doing.
Right.
And that's how I got my first nomination. And it was such a surprise. And I started meeting all these people. And it's like, in the space of a couple months, my music life changed. I went from being the guy who makes music on Res, I didn't even perform at Res, to actually being considered an artist, not just by others, but by myself.
Yeah. So, this is an amazing journey, man. So you go from that, just last week you were at the ECMAs. So you go from the residents of the pandemic to the ECMAs. Tell me about the Ecma Experience.
It's incredible, isn't it?
It is incredible, but it's incredible for a reason, right? I mean, you're a creative person who's driven, and you're surrounding yourself with people that are helping you get there, as you so rightly point out. Tell me about your Ecma Experience. What was that like?
I honestly didn't know what to expect when I first went there, because it was my first one. I've never actually been to like an award show other than the Music and award show. So it was my first for both within the first couple of months, actually. Now that I'm realizing. So I didn't know what to expect. And I got there, and there were so many people to meet, a lot of who already knew who I was, which was incredible. I mean, I have no idea who you are, but you know me. And I had a showcase there, and it was different. Because I'm used to doing shows for people I already know. And, when people start to get used to you, it's kind of like, But I had a crowd that was lively and jumping and giving me fist bumps on stage. Like, that was an amazing time for me. And, like, I didn't win an award, but I'll tell you, I think I probably won the most out of everybody.
Is that right?
Because I had a great experience. I met a lot of people who gave me great advice. And I feel like I grew as an artist in those 4 or 5 days that I was there.
Wow.
So I left there 5-10 times better than I was when I got there.
Wow. That's incredible. Did you get inspired to write anything coming back? Have you written anything since?
No, I haven't written anything since. I'm still recovering from the trip.
You're still recovering?
I barely slept most of it.
We hear everyone said the same thing.
But I did get a lot of ideas. Like, I have a lot of things on my... I don't like to call it a vision board because they're not pictures, they're topics. So, like, I write either song titles or, like, experiences, and I'm like, this is what I want to write about, and I kind of put it there so that if I ever, like, get that feeling, I already know where to start.
Right.
Like, definitely, I have a lot of stuff to write about. I have a lot of stories to tell, and I'm currently working on an album, and I am struggling on what to fit in there because I can't just give a 25-track album that just goes everywhere. You know,
Yeah.
you gotta have the theme and message. But like, honestly, the ECMAs were awesome.
So what's over the horizon for you? You're working on an album, but what else is going on? What else are you looking at?
I've got a joint EP that's coming out soon with Ife Alaba. I've got the album. I was about to tell you the name, but let me not jinx it. Okay. And then I'm looking at... I kind of want to... After the album, I'm going to perform a bit. Maybe look into perform shows outside the province as well. But I'm also looking at kind of setting up an organization to help other artists. Not necessarily an organization, but I want to kind of help the other artists who haven't had the same spotlight as me, whether by circumstance or just, you know. And that's kind of where my mind's at as well. Because I know a lot of people who really put a lot of grind in this, but don't know what to do after the song comes out. And I want to make a difference in the lives of other people in the same way people have made a difference in mine. So that's kind of what I don't want to go too deep into it because then I'm very, what's the word? I believe that I'll jinx it. I don't know.
Superstitious.
Yes, superstitious. I'm superstitious. So I feel like if I say it, then man, it might not happen.
You know that song, Superstitious? It's a good song.
I don't know it.
You should listen to it.
I'll check it out.
Yeah, it's a very good song.
I'll check it out.
Yeah.
And then obviously I want to go back to the ECMAs next year, bigger, better, stronger, in Halifax, and kind of get to vibe and meet everyone again. And then I'm also looking towards the Junos soon.
Wow.
Oh, of course, yes. And then my plan, personally, by 2025, I need to be seated at the BETs and hopefully the Grammys.
Wow. I'm going to ask a question to you. Now, you've been in Newfoundland for 5 years. Clearly love the place.
100%.
And I think they love you. So that's great.
I hope.
Yeah. What does Newfoundland mean to you?
Well, it's become home. That's all that needs to be said is home. The same way when people are like, where are you from? I'm from Zimbabwe. I'm also from St. John's. Like, if I travel around Canada, they're like, oh, where are you from? I'm like, oh, I'm from NL. That's what comes to my mind at first. I'm from NL. Then they're like, is that where you're born? I'm like, oh, you should have asked where I was born. I mean, it's not the same question.
No. You've had a great journey, and you're in the middle of a great journey. You're just in the middle of this. Like, you're shifting gears. You're just going to the next level. It's just so inspirational to hear your desire to give back to people, and it's remarkable. What would a piece of advice be that you would give to somebody right now?
I think the advice that I give to anybody is take a chance. A lot of times people don't succeed because they're afraid to take risks. And sometimes those risks gonna pay off. That's life. But when it does, it will be worth it. So take a chance on yourself. Believe in yourself and go for it. When you want something, you gotta really go for it because no one will believe in your dream more than you.
Jerry?
You are one heck of a motivational person, I can tell you that. And I can tell you this, Newfoundland is lucky to have you here. Thank you for joining us today. I've been spellbound just listening to you and feeling the positivity. Keep doing what you're doing.
Thank
you. It's
you.
a pleasure to talk to you.
Thank you so much. That means a lot.
Well, what a wonderful conversation on Gale Force Winds. I can tell you that there's power in that soul waiting to be unleashed, and I'm just so excited to see what the future is in store for you. It's just so inspirational to hear you talk and what you've done already and what you're willing to give back. Boy, I hope Shania Twain hears this and hears your story, so she can reach out. Drake and The Weeknd too. These guys need to meet a guy like you. There's no doubt about it. You're going to make a difference. You are making a difference. I can tell you this right now. The world needs more Farai Gwasira. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Cheers.
I gave you my heart, but your loving was rented. You say it ain't true, I never pretended. I look at my soul, the windows are tinted. I was a home, now nobody's in it. I've been alone in this house for a minute. I had to get comfortable letting you win it. I have to pretend like you never could hurt me, but lately this pain is all I've been feeling. Still I'm the villain. I don't wanna see you fall in love, not because I'm hung up over us. I just wanna see you stay the same. I just wanna see you do your thing. No more hurt, no more games. You deserve more than everything. Picture me when I picture you, and baby smile when you see my frame. Stay ready, we all night. Sunset, moonlight, stargazing all night. We both say it's our time. Come get it, it's all mine. Right girl, wrong time. Slick man's punchlines, knocked out, halftime. Okay, alright, okay, alright, okay, alright. I really thought love was a pastime. Okay, alright.